Hi guys, it's Blackie for Shaman's Forge Bushcraft. This is a redo of a video I released a couple of months ago, a review my 2 cents on a Tom Brown Tracker designed bush knife. Now, if you've already saw the other one, you may want to skip this one. But as you probably have noticed if you follow my channel, I've had to reload a few videos. I had some sort of virus get into them, and I had about a dozen videos that I lost the sound off of, the audio, and so I had to reload them, re-edit it, and reload it. And this one was so corrupted I couldn't save it. So I'm going to be redoing this because I do believe I'd like to say something about it. So, with that being said, Tom Brown has been very successful for many years as an outdoorsman, a writer, running his school, and etc. And Tom Brown designed a knife that we know as the Tom Brown Tracker. Now, from what I've been able to find out about the story, basically somebody asked Tom in an interview what was the ultimate survivor knife, and he said it didn't exist, and whenever they asked him why, he said because he hadn't designed it yet. Well, that kind of put Tom on the spot, and later he came out with this design of knife. Now, whatever you may think of Tom and his school, you got to admit he's successful, and you got to admit he's a good woodsman. So the fact that he designed the knife, that to me makes it worthy of a look at. Even though it may not be anything I want, the design is what I'm looking at. Now, of course, the Tom Brown Tracker 1 is a thick knife. It's a chopper. And then they came out with the Tom Brown Tracker 2, which is more thin and knife. Now, this is what this is a clone of. This is a Chinese copy. I picked this up, actually a student gave it to me because my student said that they liked the design and thought I was not being fair to it, and asked me to give it an honest-to-God test and play with it and see what I thought. So, for a less than $20, the hunted knife is what they call it, I picked up, well actually it was given to me like I said, this knife. And this is a Chinese knockoff of it. It has Tom's basic design features, and it's about a 1/4 inch thick piece of stainless, I'm pretty sure. And as it comes, the handles, which are wood, are held on by these teeny tiny little bitty screws that are going to snap the first time you use it. So, as a preemptive strike, I took the knife apart, removed the black powder coating off of it. This is bluing on here now. You can blue stainless if you know the trick. And I JB Weld epoxied the handles onto the cleaned up and roughed up steel. So now they're there, they're not coming off. Now, looking at the design, the original design has a saw teeth up here. This does not. It has these square notches, which I actually like better than I did with the saw teeth design. I've actually handled and played with an actual tracker a couple of times. These square notches are perfect as a fish scaler. They're also good to put up there and bear down and make a notch for like string or something like that, because if you just put it up there and like 45 it like that and rub, you get a fine little bitty notch. So you can see that a piece of bank line will lock into. Pretty easy. It's not meant to saw. It's meant to be a notch, and I actually like it, like I said, for a fish scaler. I've cleaned fish with this thing a couple of times now, and it smells it. But this big ulu-like curvature is perfect for choking up on the knife like that and doing this for filleting out fine fillets of meat. Now, what this knife does well is a game processor. And after I have looked at it, resharpened and rebeveled it, because the bevel that comes on it is a hollow ground nothing. But I have rebeveled it starting back here at this edge, going all the way and turning it into a flat grind on both sides. Much more usable that way, and it holds an edge well, cuts fairly well. This straight edge right here, this splitting or whatever you want to call it, is pretty good for doing kindling, splitting small stuff, etc. This edge right here is way too sharp from the factory. You better flatten that off with a file or it's going to get you. Now this curvature on the back, at first I didn't know what that was. But then I kind of, through trial and error, figured out. I took a file and made this into a 90-degree edge on this. So now it strikes a ferro rod really well. But what that curve does is this. When you've got a piece of hide laying over a round thing and you're using it as a scraper, it does fine. So for processing hide to make buckskin, it works pretty good. I can take my thumb and hook on that side like that, put this on a round skinning post, you know, and sit there and scrape off the meat and the hide. So as a fleshing tool, it does pretty good. So I can use it for a flint striker. I can use it for a fleshing tool, a ferro rod striker. The point, I just kind of left it like it is. It's okay, but it's, other than I just need to pierce into the belly of a fish, that's it. On the original design, right here was more of a gut hook. I've left that out and I've made this into a little bit of a hook right there. And that's pretty good actually when I'm trying to cut a V down the middle of wood or something like that. It's not really a wood processing tool for me, but it does a good game processing tool. Yeah, it does pretty good at that. My ability to clean fish with the back of it, my ability to fillet with this part of the knife, my ability to use it as a straight knife for those type of cuts, being able to strike a ferro rod, being able to process fur-bearing animals to turn it into hide, yeah, that's not a bad design. Tom knows what he's doing about outdoor stuff. Like I said, like him or love him, you got to admit he's been successful at it, and you wouldn't be successful that long if you didn't know what you were doing. So, Tom designing this knife, I see where he was going with it. It's a game processor. Yeah, it'll build a little shelter, but no knife is a good hacker. A kukri is a better hacker. But it's a little cleaver, chopper, whatever. I don't use it for that. But as a knife for cutting, for processing, doing stuff for cooking around the fire, for processing hides to turn it into a leather or something like that, yeah, this makes a pretty good tool. And it is a good tool for fishing and etc. And for that reason, I'm keeping it. I did not like the sheath that comes with it. I'll tell you right now, it's a piece of junk. It's a thin little piece of nylon. I went and got me a piece of 6-inch PVC, and I made me a PVC sheath for it using the belt loop off the original knife to hook to the back. It sits in there just fine, nice and secure. And since I'm going to be using this fishing a lot, this riding on my hip, I ain't got to worry about it falling out. Put a nice big piece of paracord so I can hang it up when I ain't using it. That's my 2 cents on the Tom Brown Tracker design. There are tons and tons of reviews of the actual tracker knife. If you've been thinking about trying out the design, pick up one of these for less than 20 bucks off Amazon. Give it a try. If you like it, make the modifications I talked about epoxying on the handles and changing the bevels and stuff. You'll make it a more effective tool. If you're in love with it, save up the money and buy a quality Tom Brown tracker from somebody who manufactures them made out of really good steel. That's my 2 cents for it. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave your comments, suggestions down below. Thank you so much for your support. I'm Blackie for Shaman's Forge Bushcraft, wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.